Hey everyone, and welcome. So, if you're an IT admin, you know the feeling, right? You've got virtual desktops running on-prem, some over in Azure, maybe a bunch in AWS, and you're managing them all separately. It's a complete logistical nightmare. Well, today, we're going to look at a way to finally bring all of that chaos under one roof.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll get on the same page about the problem, what we're calling the multi-cloud maze. Then, we'll introduce the solution, this idea of a single pane of glass. After that, we'll pop the hood and look at your global control panel, see what an admin can actually do with the keys to the kingdom, and then wrap it all up with why this is such a big deal for big organizations.
All right, let's dive right into section 1, the multi-cloud maze. And really, this is all about the headache that is modern VDI, or virtual desktop infrastructure management. I mean, let me just ask you this straight up. Are you trying to manage desktops and apps that are scattered across a bunch of different clouds? If the answer is yes, you know exactly the kind of pain I'm talking about. It feels less like you're managing a system and more like you're juggling chainsaws, doesn't it? Because this is the reality for so many people. You've got your own on-prem hardware. You've got stuff in AWS, other things in Azure, maybe even some workloads in Google Cloud. And every single one of them is its own little island, right? A totally separate silo with its own dashboard, its own rules. And the result? It is just incredibly complex, wildly inefficient, and an absolute nightmare to try and manage with any consistency. So, what's the answer? How do you fix this mess? Well, that brings us right into section 2, this concept of a single pane of glass. It's all about stopping the juggling act and bringing some serious order to all that chaos. And here it is, the Omnissa Horizon Global Administrator's View. What is it, really? You can think of it as a single, centralized command center that gives you that bird's eye view you've been dreaming of. It lets you manage everything, your multi-cloud stuff, your on-prem stuff, all from one screen.
You know, this phrase just nails it. Think of it exactly like that. A single pane of glass. Instead of running around and peeking through a dozen different windows to see what's going on, you get one clean, unified viewpoint for your entire VDI fleet. It's a simple analogy, but man, is it powerful.
Okay, so how does this single pane of glass actually work its magic? Let's get into the nuts and bolts in section 3, your global control panel, and explore the core features that really make this thing tick. Now, this whole view is built on a few key ideas. We're going to really focus in on a few of the most important ones: what unified management actually looks like, how it uses something called cloud pod architecture, and the clever thin edge model that makes it all possible. First up, unified management. This is the promise delivered. It is that one view we were just talking about, the one that pulls all your different cloud and on-prem environments together. It's about finally breaking down those silos we mentioned to give you real, holistic control. And the secret sauce behind this is something called Cloud Pod Architecture, or CPA. Basically, it works by linking up or federating all your separate deployments, which Horizon calls pods, into one giant logical fleet. This is the tech that lets an admin set a policy just once and have it apply absolutely everywhere. Super powerful. Of course, when you have that much control, you need to have visibility to match. A huge part of this is centralized monitoring. And get this, it keeps up to 90 days of audit logs for every single thing an administrator does. For security, for compliance, for just figuring out who changed what, that is absolutely crucial. And finally, let's talk architecture. It uses what's called a thin edge infrastructure. Okay, think of it in 3 simple steps. 1, the management part, the brains of the operation, that's centralized in the cloud. 2, your actual desktops and resources, they stay right where they are, totally decentralized. AWS, Azure, your own data center. And the result, step 3, is that you get that unified global view without having to move a single thing. It's smart, and it's incredibly efficient. Okay, so we know what it is, we know how it works, but what can you actually do with it? That brings us to the keys to the kingdom, a look at the specific, powerful actions a global administrator can take from that one console. This is where it gets real for an admin. Think about it. A user calls in with a problem. With Global Session Management, you can find their session in seconds, no matter what cloud they're logged into. Need to push out a new security policy? With Policy Management, you do it once, and boom, it's enforced across the globe. This is what true command and control from a single screen looks like. All right, let's bring it all home in our final section, why this view matters. We've seen the what and the how, so now let's talk about the so what. Why should a large organization care about any of this?
So why does this matter so much? Look, for any big organization, a unified view like this isn't just a nice to have. It's absolutely essential. It is the only practical way to manage a complex hybrid VDI setup, to support teams that are spread all over the planet, to actually centralize your security, and maybe most importantly, to make your entire IT team so much more efficient. And that kind of leaves us with one final question to think about. Your company's infrastructure. It's only getting more complex, right? It's growing, it's spreading out, it's changing all the time. So the real question you have to ask is your management view keeping up with it?